Hello everyone, my name is Celine and welcome to the channel. As you can see here it says Dragon Seeks Path. I think I'm gonna probably explain that concept of the channel in another video, but I thought I'd kind of give myself a little bit of an introduction on my, obsession, so to speak, or my enthusiasm and passion for movies and philosophy, martial arts, everything of that nature. So a little bit about myself. I have been a long time cinema fan ever since I was a child, and specifically action movies was my most favorite genre of all time. I think I was pretty much raised up upon watching action films. It was just a natural genre that kind of hit home in a way. And growing up in an East Asian household, so I'm Chinese and Vietnamese, my parents and my family would love to put on like TV shows from the Hong Kong TVB version, or ATV, right? And I grew up watching a lot of wuxia movies, lots of wuxia films and TV shows. I think the one that I can recall quite vividly is a wuxia TV show, 1978. It's called Reincarnated. I think the main character was Norman Chu. Yeah, it's a very, very good wuxia TV show if you're a big fan of wuxia. So I loved it, and it's funny because ever since I was a kid, watching those things were quite intriguing and interesting to me. So I remember seeing, like, if you've seen Shaw Brothers movies, that grew on to me ever since I grew up too, where there's like blood splattering and people's like arms and legs just flying across the room and stuff like that. There are scenes that are so vivid that I remember, especially I think it's the first version of Jimmy Wang Yu's The One-Armed Swordsman, and I remember just seeing those scenes where it's very like, there's like the scene where he's being heroic and his arm is being cut off and stuff like that. And as a kid, like, I was obviously very sensitive to those scenes in a way, but I was also yet intrigued by them because I was very much interested and invested in the special effects. Like, wow, how did they do that? How did that blood splatter across the screen or something? Or how did that arm just fly, fly across the camera or something like that, right? And I always had questions in my mind about these aspects in film. So I think it wasn't until I was in about grade 10, right, in high school, and that's kind of when the world of martial arts and kung fu started to really get to me and open me up to understand, what is this type of cinema about? What does it speak towards, right? And even as a kid, I was exposed to Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li. They're kicking ass on screen. They look really cool. And I didn't really quite, obviously I was a kid, right? I was quite young. I just thought that it was cool. Whatever they were doing looked really badass, right? And so once I started to go into grade 10, the whole entire world of Jeet Kune Do, and martial arts kind of hit me in a way, right? And it hit me psychologically and spiritually, emotionally, all that kind of jazz. And so I was really invested and interested in Bruce Lee movies at first. And I think my very first Bruce Lee film that I watched, and I really tried to understand the meaning, the concept, and the filmmaking process, was Fist of Fury. I know The Big Boss was his first one, but that was my first Bruce Lee film that I admired and I really loved, was Fist of Fury. But moving into a couple years later, I immersed myself in the world of Shaw Brothers movies. And again, taking me back to my childhood, watching The One-Armed Swordsman and the 36 Chambers of Shaolin, all those classics, Gordon Liu, everybody there. And I became a huge fan of T. Lung and David Chang. If you guys know those guys, they're like the legends of Shaw Brothers movies, and it really just brought me into Chang Jae's world. So a lot of the Shaw Brothers films, the director Chang Jae, he directed so many wuxia kung fu flicks at the time in the 70s. And of course King Hu in terms of Touch of Zen. Like, I could just go on forever talking about Shaw Brothers movies in another video, but in all cases, general cases, I, jumped from Bruce Lee's world to the world of Chang Jae and the world of Shaw Brothers films, really just kind of bring me back to that childhood. So that's kind of what got me immersed in that universe. I'm kind of jumping, taking leaps here, but it wasn't until second year of my cinema studies minor. I took an action cinema, they call it action cinema spectacle course. I know it's so long, that I ended up becoming a cinephile right at the start. And it's because of that course that shaped me and my taste in movies nowadays, my taste in cinemas. I call myself a cinephile, there you go. And it's changed my entire life. And then really just looking at action films and the genre, how much it's evolved over time and how much goes on behind the scenes, right? Ever since I took that course, I've always been geeking out about action movies. The first week of the course, you know what we watched? Do you want to know what we actually watched? And it was really interesting. We ended up watching The Raid. So Gareth Evans' The Raid was the very first time that I was exposed to Indonesian action cinema, and I became a huge Gareth Evans fan ever since I saw The Raid 2011 in my course. Then it wasn't until I think it was the 7th week of the course that I became a full-time Hong Kong cinema geek and enthusiast. And it takes me back to my childhood because it was the very first time that I was exposed to John Woo. John Woo is probably one of my all-time favorite auteur directors of all time. And when I say auteur, there's a reason for it. He's basically the catalyst for, you know, all our modern day action movies that you see nowadays, like the John Wick series with, you know, all the other films that you often see nowadays, the whole Two Guns, and then Chow Yun-fat changing the entire game of being a hitman, right? And so it's kind of like before there was John Wick, there was Mark Gore from A Better Tomorrow. And that's another topic for another time. Right beside me, one of my books that I'm reading right now is called They Shouldn't Have Killed His Dog. And it says the complete uncensored ass-kicking oral history of John Wick, Gun Fu, and the new age of action. And whenever I think of Gun Fu, I think of Chow Yun-fat, and I think of John Woo. Of course, you know, I have many other favorite action film directors and filmmakers, auteurs, you want to say. Even right beside me, I was rewatching Heat the other week too, and let me tell you this, Michael Mann is definitely on my list for sure. John Woo and Michael Mann, Gareth Evans, definitely those three are my big favorite auteur filmmakers for sure. I think those three big directors and filmmakers, they definitely let the action speak for themselves, and you know, a lot of their films emphasize a lot on action for sure, whether that's hand-to-hand combat or it's, you know, a gunfight or shootout scene. You know, those three really have played a big part on my cinematic experiences and journey, and they've really shaped me to become the, you know, action cinema geek that I am today. But yeah, so hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next episode of the Dragon Seeks Path channel, DSP channel. And so yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode. Alright, so before we end this clip, I thought I would just introduce my very good friends here. This is my John Woo collection of DVDs that you'll ever see. So again, we have this version of The Killer, which I kind of introduced earlier. It's from those guys from Dragon Dynasty. So I do apologize that the camera that I'm using does not zoom in, so it's gonna have to be shown from afar. But that's that. And you know you're a true cinephile when you have multiple different copies of the same damn film, because you know what? It doesn't hurt to watch the special features, you know, why Chow Yun-fat ends up using a Beretta for almost the entirety of his genre films. But this is A Better Tomorrow, amazing film. You can see how badass Chow Yun-fat looks in the front here, and of course in the back when he's kind of smoking that dollar bill with his cigarette. Bam! These two versions, of course. So again, A Better Tomorrow one, and then this is the second one. He plays Mark's brother, Ken Gore, and he's just so damn cool. It takes me back to this one scene. For those who've watched the film, there's a part near the end where his character, Ken, just pulls up a gun in front of one of the bad guys, and he's just like, no, 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 sorry, and then he just shoots him out.
No, 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 sorry.
And then we have Hard Boiled. Awesome, awesome film right there. This is one of his 1992, I believe. Kind of like the HK version of Dirty Harry, basically. But, you know, next level Dirty Harry. So there's that. And of course, another version of The Killer. The reason why, again, there's so many... These ones just have really cool special features that I just like to watch. They even have like a snippets of, you know, places that, you know, where certain scenes were filmed. And here we have two of my most favorite covers and versions of the films, which is the Criterion collection of Hard Boiled and The Killer. They don't have these anymore. At least I don't know if they have them on Amazon or any other misplaced. I don't think the Criterion Collection releases them anymore, but I was so blessed that I found them. And I just love this cover. Like, look how badass his, like, Tequila looks like he's flying off those flight of stairs in the film, honestly. But I just love them, and I had to get my hands on these two. So that's part of my collection. And of course, another Dragon Dynasty version of Hardboiled with more special features on the second disc. Yeah, we have these two again. And this is probably the first time that I bought a John Woo film on physical media. That's how crazy and weird I am, I know. Okay, moving on to non-hardboiled and the killer versions of DVDs. We have Once a Thief. Great film with Leslie Chung and Cherry Chung. So this is another awesome gun fu film. Bullet in the Head. Yeah, this is really badass. This is a great film. Tony Leung is amazing. Jackie Chung and Y.C. Lee. I think I butchered his name, but anyways, awesome, 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 awesome film. We have Broken Arrow, Travolta and Christian Slater. Every time I see Christian Slater, I just think of the film Heathers that he was in. So there's that. Face Off with Nick Cage, of course. Hello. And my most favorite one, JCVD and Hard Target. This is one heck of a film. That concludes my John Woo collection here, and I'm pretty sure I went kind of berserk on it, but yeah.